So, hello students. Today is the day 6 for class 10, and today's topic is going to be respiration. Right? This is a life process chapter which has 4 subdivisions. So, we are going to talk about respiration. So, this is the steps of respiration and types. You can make the notes. So, the respiration you can see here, it is a process by which a living being utilizes the food. So whatever the previous chapter, what we have done recently, we have done recently about nutrition. So what is the fate of the nutrition? तो उसमें आपने टॉपिक पढ़ा होगा assimilation. So what is जब हम holocyte mode पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें assimilation step आता है. Assimilation step क्या होता है? कि किस तरह से cells जो food digest होकर cells तक पहुंचा है, उनको उसको absorb किया गया है, तो उसको कैसे utilize करें? That utilization सबसे पहला जो लाइफ प्रोसेस जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है यूटिलाइजेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से दैट इज अ ग्लूकोज एज अ सबस्ट्रेट यूनिवर्सली ग्लूकोज एज अ सबस्ट्रेट यूज होता है सो इट इज अ टूल टू गेट द एनर्जी इज कॉल्ड रेस्पिरेशन इट इज अ ब्रॉडर टर्म और इसके अंदर सब स्टेप्स होते हैं राइट सो इट इज ऑक्सीडेशन इट इज एन ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन द ग्लूकोज इज गेटिंग ऑक्सीडाइज्ड जनरली केमिकली हम इसको कहते हैं ब्रेकिंग डाउन ऑफ द the glucose molecule into various other products, and that is mainly the ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate energy currency. So class 9 के cell chapter में मैंने इसको describe किया. So respiration and oxidation reaction means it is a catalytic process. It is a catalytic process means breaking down into simplest forms and release of energy. So oxidation किसका होता है? Carbohydrate, and particularly carbohydrate में कौन है? जो substrate है, and that is none other than glucose. Glucose. It is oxidized to produce energy. Mitochondrion is a site of respiration. Mitochondrion is a singular, and plural mitochondria will say is a site of respiration. But हाँ, इसकी beginning cytoplasm में हो जाती है. The energy released is stored in the form of ATP. ATP का full form आपको याद रखना है, काफी competitions में पूछते हैं. That it is adenosine triphosphate. So it is in this phosphate bonds, energy is trapped, and whenever these bonds are broken, so free energy is released, which is used for metabolic reactions. So ATP stored in mitochondria is released as per the need. Next is steps of respiration. So what are the steps? Breaking down glucose into pyruvate. So this is a step which is known as glycolysis. तो थोड़ा सा additions करेंगे content में. This is glycolysis. So glycolysis, glucose का lysis यानी breakdown. So glucose का जो lysis है, that is taking place. So the glucose is there, and suppose this is the cell, right? And this is entirely the cell membrane here. This is the cytoplasm part. Suppose this is a nuclear region. And what happens is, we always will also talk about mitochondria, cell chapter. इसलिए पहले बनाया जाता है foundations में. Cell tissues जैसे chapters. Obviously मैंने अभी life process को priority दी है. तो tissues में मैं बीच में भी आपको बहुत very soon I'm going to post the video of tissues. तो ये जो mitochondria के बारे में हम देख रहे हैं, it is a discoidal shaped, ठीक है, sausage shape ऐसे लिखते हैं, double membrane structure, in अंदर वाली membrane highly folded crystal. So these are the two important things and the sites for the respiration. तो चलो देखते हैं कि कैसे होता है. So first of all, in the cytoplasm के जो steps होते हैं, that is breaking down of glucose molecule. तो जैसे ही ग्लूकोज के रिसेप्टर्स बढ़ जाते हैं सेल की मेम्ब्रेन पर, ये कौन करवाएगा? रिसेप्टर्स बढ़ेंगे, तो ग्लूकोज जो मॉलिक्यूल है वो अपने आप फिर रिसेप्टर से बाइंड होकर और सेल्स के अंदर प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन के अंदर वो रिसीव कर देते हैं. तो रिसीव करके साइटोप्लाज्म में आ जाते हैं. तो ग्लूकोज इज एंटरिंग नाउ. And this uptake of glucose molecule inside the cell is because of a hormone that is insulin. तभी insulin glucose को cells के अंदर उसका uptake increase कर रहा है. It increases cellular uptake of ग्लूकोज मॉलिक्यूल GLU या सिंपली आप कैपिटल G से इसको रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं। फास्ट नोट्स में हम इसको सिंबलाइज करते हैं। So this glucose molecule is there, and then these glucose molecules once they enter due to the insulin hormones. That's why insulin is known as hypoglycemic hormone. Hypoglycemic hormone, right? Hypoglycemic hormone कहते हैं। Hypo means less, glycemic मतलब glucose in the blood plasma. So glucose का level in the blood plasma is quite reduced because of insulin. And इसका opposite antagonist है glucagon. दोनों का source pancreas है, जो हमने digestion discuss किया। Once this glucose is there, now it is going to break down by the process known as glycolysis. So this is the glycolysis process, and the glucose टूटता है into two molecules of pyruvate. ये two molecules pyruvate के break down होता है, बल्कि molecule कितना है, one glucose at a time अगर हम लेके चलते हैं in the equation. So this is one molecule C6H12O6 breaks into two molecules of pyruvate. Formation का हम इसको molecular name का हम use कर रहे हैं, हम इसको by words लिख रहे हैं, but 11th में definitely आपको molecular structures भी structure in the sense molecular formula याद रखना। This is glucose into two molecules of pyruvate, that is glycolysis. Now this pyruvate is going to enter through some carriers. It is going to enter into the mitochondria. Mitochondria में दो sites होती हैं. There are two important sites in the mitochondria. एक होता है इसका stroma region inside this. ये जो पूरा region है ये वाला. This stroma region, right? So this is the stroma region, and और इसके अलावा जो मेम्ब्रेन पोर्शन होता है, that is the cristae. That is the cristae part. So this is cristae. तो मैं आपको रेस्पिरेशन की काफी इंटरनल सेलुलर ऑक्सीडेशन की ही बात कर रही हूँ अभी राइट नाउ। तो इसको फिर हम दोबारा से फिजियोलॉजिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखेंगे कि जब इनहेलेशन से शुरू हो जाए स्टेप्स होके देखेंगे हम। एक्सटर्नल रेस्पिरेशन से कहते हैं, ये हम इंटरनल यानी कि सेलुलर रेस्पिरेशन डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। तो पायरुवेट इज देयर, स्ट्रोमा एंड क्रिस्टल पार्ट इज देयर। स्ट्रोमा के अंदर सबसे पहले ये जो पायरुवेट है, दिस पायरुवेट इज गोइंग टू बी यूज्ड अप, राइट? सो दिस पायरुवेट इज गोइंग टू बी यूज्ड अप। ठीक है, माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में जाने का मतलब ही है ये दिस इज एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन। दिस इज एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन। माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में जाने का मतलब ये एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन है। So this is the pyruvate inside the stroma, and now what will happen? This is the matrix part of the mitochondria. यहाँ पे particularly जो enzymes होते हैं, that is Krebs cycle. So now this is going to enter through some intermediates, and this cycle is known as, मैं यहाँ लिख देती हूँ, इसको कहते हैं Krebs cycle. Krebs-Henle cycle, right? So this is one of the cycles which are very important. It's quite complex. There are a lot of sub-stages, and that we study in class 11. And then Krebs cycle का जो product होता है, now that product is going to be used up. So there is a direct level ATP, direct ATP synthesis होगा, and at the same time there are indirect ways of producing the ATP through some other energy sources. Some कहते हैं redemptions. We redeem the ATPs. Then that is the redemption point is cristae, F naught F one particles. तो ये पूरा एक जो गेम है, ये एक इलेक्ट्रोकेमिकल ग्रेडियंट डेवलप करने का पूरा एक प्रोसेस होता है। इट्स अ कंप्लीट केमिस्ट्री बेस्ड इज गोइंग ऑन हियर, और इस केमिकल ग्रेडियंट की वजह से जब भी वो हायर कॉन्सेंट्रेशन मूवमेंट होता है या अगेंस्ट द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन मूवमेंट होगा, तो ड्यू टू व्हिच व्हाट हैपेंस, there are not, and there is redox reactions also, chain of redox reactions are also involved. So this is how it works, right? So उसको हम कहते हैं जो क्रिस्टे पे होता है इलेक्ट्रॉन ट्रांसपोर्ट चेन। So this is finally the electron transport chain, and इसको मैं यहाँ पे लिख देती हूँ, this is electron transport chain, और electron transport chain में this is that step जहाँ पर ऑक्सीजन यूज होता है at the last. So we are obligatory errors because हमें ये चीज कंप्लीट करना है तब जाकर टोटल जो है ग्लूकोज का हम देखते हैं 38 एटीपीज का यूसेज होता है कहीं पे 36 लिखा हुआ है but that is a special case only for kidneys and liver. So this is 38 ATPs glucose से and that is how it works. So there are how many stages? हमने कौन-कौन से stages पढ़ी? हमने सबसे पहले देखा glycolysis को होते हुए उसके बाद हमने देखा Krebs cycle and after that EPC. इस तरह से ये steps complete होते हैं ये सारी की मैंने आपको mention कर दी है and total number of ATPs. So that is about the cellular oxidation. क्या बोलते हैं इसको हम सेल के अंदर ग्लूकोज पहुंचा तो cellular oxidation. What is the fate of glucose? What is the fate of pyruvates? Right? Pyruvate अगर pyruvate को for whatever reasons oxygen नहीं मिलता है, oxygen is less or it is absent. That is anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration के case में right what happens in the anaerobic respiration necessary nucleus वाला हिस्सा remove कर देते right so in this case anaerobic respiration में the pyruvate has sites depends अगर ये microbes में हो रहा है like yeast bacteria इसको use भी करते हैं in fermentation process उसको बोलते हैं fermentation lactic acid fermentation भी होता है यहाँ पर alcoholic fermentation इसी को यूज करते हैं कमर्शियली इसको कमर्शियली यूज करा जा रहा है फॉर बेवरेजेस अल्कोहलिक बेवरेजेस की प्रिपरेशन के लिए है इंडस्ट्री इसको डिस्टिलरी कहते हैं कमर्शियली एक्सप्लॉइटेड इन द डिस्टिलरी सो डिस्टिलरीज आर yeast और बैक्टीरिया जब ये वाला प्रोसेस फर्मेंटेशन करता है अल्कोहलिक फर्मेंटेशन बोलते हैं तो अल्कोहल का लेवल इनके सेल्स में बढ़ जाता है फिर इनको रप्चर करके मशीन्स के थ्रू डिस्टिलेशन चेंबर्स के थ्रू इनको एक्सट्रैक्ट किया जाता है प्यूरिफिकेशन करके वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ अल्कोहलिक बेवरेजेस प्रिपेयर किए जाते हैं राइट दैट इज डिस्टिलरी सो यीस्ट बैक्टीरिया फर्मेंटेशन है और अगर यही ऑक्सीजन डेप्थ skeletal muscles में होता है particularly now for the human beings due to some kind of exercises उस केस में क्या होता है there is a it is lactic acid fermentation that is lactic acid fermentation and that is the cause of muscle cramps that causes muscle cramps right muscle cramps cause karega so lactic acid fermentation will cause muscle cramps because and it is just a temporary process lactic acid 80% दोबारा से glycogen में store हो जाता है 80% of it is stored in the form of glycogen in the liver. And 20% इसका further oxidation हो जाता है into water CO2. Further it is oxidized. So this is the fate of lactic acid. Okay, from temporary गर्म पानी की सेक से पानी कहते हैं नमक के पानी में गर्म पानी में वार्म यूनिफॉर्म वाटर में पैर डिप करके थोड़ा आराम मिलता है वो सब टेम्पररी रिलैक्सेशंस है बट अल्टीमेटली जो फिजियोलॉजिकल चेंजेस वो अपना टाइम लेगा वो है लैक्टिक एसिड इस तरह से स्टोर हो जाएगा दोबारा से एंड देन क्योंकि वही ग्लाइकोजन के ब्रेकडाउन होता है ग्लूकोज अवेलेबल होता है सेल्स को एक साइकिल में बॉडी की रिजर्व फूड से लेकर यूटिलाइजेशन स्टेप्स है so this is about the entire process of cellular oxidation. After this, we talk about the other things. So let's talk about how this particular glucose and oxygen is there. So आपके class 10 के according देख सकते हैं. Breaking down glucose into pyruvate, हमने आपको explain कर दिया. Pyruvate is 3 carbon atom. हमें ध्यान रखना है fate of pyruvate acid, aerobic है कि anaerobic है. वो डिपेंड करेगा टाइप्स ऑफ रेस्पिरेशन एरोबिक है या एनारोबिक है वो डिपेंड करेगा तो ऑन दैट बेसिस यू कैन सी हियर द सोर्सेस कंटेंट्स ग्लूकोज मींस पायरुवेट 3 कार्बन कंपाउंड प्लस एनर्जी इज रिलीज्ड इसमें भी है ग्लाइकोलाइसिस में 2 एटीपीज बनते हैं नेट एब्सेंस और लो अमाउंट ऑफ ऑक्सीजन anaerobic respiration and fermentation in maybe 2 ATPs are formed lactic acid plus energy and 2 ATPs example bacteria है but we should mention here particularly about skeletal muscles so where we can write about skeletal muscles. And then ethanol, CO2. Ethanol 2 कार्बन है, 1 CO2 रिलीज होगा. लैक्टिक एसिड 3 कार्बन है, पायरुवेट 3 कार्बन बैलेंस हो चुका है. 3 कार्बन बैलेंस्ड है यहाँ पे, लेकिन यहाँ पे 2 कार्बन होने की वजह से it is 2 carbons, so that's why it is 1 CO2 released energy and it is 2 ATPs. Right? Glycolysis के breakdown में भी energy कितनी है? 2 ATP. ये direct substrate level synthesis है, but presence of oxygen में थोड़ा complicated है process. बहुत सारे cycles होते हैं जिसमें बताया anaerobic respiration है, CO2, water energy in plants and animals. Then this is the equations you can see here, both the equations in humans, lactic acid and ATPs, and you can see here also 38 ATPs. Right? This is the usable form of the energy. Next, so what is the cause of the cramps is also mentioned here. Pain in leg muscles on running, exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. So finally हमें क्या चाहिए? Oxygen. Glucose कहाँ से मिलेगा? Storage. Liver में glycogen है, जब भी requirement है glycogen breakdown होगा glucose में supply करेंगे cells में. Exchange of gases के अगर हम बात करें तो exchange of gases takes place in different animals. In aquatic animals they have particularly gills, and in terrestrial organisms depends on the type of habitat and complexities. So cutaneous भी हो सकता है through skin, right? So it could be through skin. For this reason we have different types of respiratory systems. We see in lower animals, like it is trachea in insects, and if we have earthworms, leeches, that is cutaneous. Then we have some booklands, book gills, scorpion spiders in book lungs, and we have book gills in crabs and prawns. It is purely gills. So इस तरह से बहुत सारे organisms का काफी vivid है respiratory, and mostly it is you know what, in the entire animal kingdom, most of them are gill breathers. And when we move towards vertebrates and through amphibians till mammals, they all are lung breathers. Amphibians, they have dual purpose because they have both types of land and inside the water. Amphibians also breathe through cutaneous respiration and through lungs. Human respiratory system में हम देख सकते हैं nostrils, it starts, then pharynx, then it goes to the larynx, then trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli. This is a complete passage and the flow chart for it. So this is the human respiratory system. You can see the nasal cavity, which is partitioned and that palate, the hard palate, which is differentiating it. यहाँ पर एक palate bone है, इसके से ये buccal cavity है. Sorry, this is buccal cavity and this is nasal cavity. ठीक है, nasal cavity is well adapted for inhalation. So what is the well adaptation? It is a well adapted for inhalation. It has what is suitable for inhalation. First thing is it has air. It has mucus. So mucus traps the dust. Mucus is a trap. It traps the dust and the pathogens. And the air is responsible to move it towards a distal end, means the opening nostrils, distal end, so that the trapped dust and this is going to be cleaned, mucus and dust, that is going to be removed. So that's why when we are outside for quite a long time, when we are in a dusty area, that day we feel more on nose blockage and we need to clean it up. So this is for adaptation, and that's how mouth breathing is prevented or it is avoided. Then larynx, it is cartilage. It is made up of cartilage and it produces the sound. That's why it is also known as sound box. Pharynx, common passage for air and water. Common passage for air and water. Air, water, and food, you can say. Food रख लेते हैं, उसमें सब आ जाएगा involved overall food, air and food. Then first, this is trachea. The trachea has a C-shaped cartilaginous rings. It has particularly a C-shaped cartilaginous rings. So this cartilaginous rings partially towards the ventral side. It prevents the collapsing of the trachea, protects it, collapse prevent करता है. So it is still here. secondary bronchioles clear है, cartilage के rings, mucous lining, cilia as well, ताकि dust air का जितना maximum inhaled, minimum जितना maximum, rather than goes to lungs completely pure हो जाती है, lungs completely tract को respiratory tract कहते हैं, इसमें कोई exchange of gases नहीं होता और यहाँ पर completely conduction means it is meant for conduction of the inhalation and exhalation, the air passage. So it is conduction as well as protection or cleaning up, cleaning of inhaled air. So cartilage is protecting the entire this conducting part of the trachea till bronchioles, fine bronchioles. So bronchioles is dividing into two, left and the right. This is the left side and this right side. Lateral inverted. We have already when we study the specimen facing the U. So your left and right is inverted. यहाँ देख सकते हो जो bronchioles है वो फिर vertebra, thoracic vertebra पे आके divide होता है. Vertebral column का फिर thoracic column ये divide होता है into left and right side. इसके बाद हम देखेंगे प्लूरा. इसके पास एक थ्रोट एक मेम्ब्रेन होती है और उसको बोलते हैं हम प्लूरल मेम्ब्रेन. ये पूरी मेम्ब्रेन है इसका, दैट इज द प्लूरल मेम्ब्रेन. ये लूप्ड है, लंग्स में लूप्स भी होते हैं एंड इस तरह से, राइट. सो दीज आर द लंग्स एंड वी कॉल इट प्लूरा. Pleura is double membrane, outer and inner. एक लंग को टच करा और एक एक्सटर्नल सीलोमिक कैविटी को, और इसके अंदर क्या है? इसके अंदर है एक फ्लूइड. It has a pleural fluid inside. So this pleural fluid ensures this is pleural fluid and it protects the lung from mechanical stress. Any kind of mechanical stress, frictionless movement of the lungs during inhalation and exhalation. So overall lungs जो है जिसको हम कहते हैं pulmonary volume, it cannot be altered on its own. आप देख सकते हो इसके पास ये सारा एक connective tissues और epithelial tissues का भी पूरा participation है lung as an organ, but ये अपने आप shape change नहीं कर सकता. तो अगर इसको shape change करना है expansion या relaxation, तो ये indirectly इसके dependent है thoracic volume पे, यानी कि chest volume पर. The chest is covered with rib cage, ऊपर trachea, नीचे diaphragm है, ये वाला ribs है, नहीं जो क्या है diaphragm को रखने के लिए. तो rib cage और diaphragm की movement से inhalation exhalation होता है. And now that finally decides कि हाँ air और volume का जो complete जो pressure और volume का gain है वो change होगा. Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. So that's how we can see here कि volume जब alter होगा the lungs को stuff it दिखेगा and that's how lungs expand and come back to their original position. Lungs are very much highly developed organ, best suited for terrestrial life and complex animals because lungs का surface area because of the further subdivisions into the minutest alveoli, the air sac is reaching till the air sac. It has large surface area and highly vascularized, मतलब blood supply है. It is usually it is permeable to the respiratory gases, oxygen and CO2. It is moist. It is moist due to some secretions, surfactants. It is remaining stretched always. That's why alveoli acts as for this reproductive system. The respiratory system acts as a best suited mechanism for the terrestrial organisms. So they have a very large surface area. So they have overcome cutaneous, gills, सब overcome कर चुका है, and this is the best. Skin cannot be very beneficial for humans for exchange. Lungs have evolved very nicely for it. This is alveoli, bronchi, diaphragm. So this is all about the introduction of the. Next, after this, we talk about breathing mechanisms. So there are some text questions. What advantage aquatic organisms does a terrestrial organism have to bring for respiration? So it is air contains more oxygen as compared to water, which has to be known to you all. इसलिए terrestrial is much better, faster, and more efficient. What are the different ways in which glucose is oxidized to provide energy in the various organisms? That you can see from here, the three pathways. The glucose 6 carbon molecule in cytoplasm, pyruvate 3 carbon molecule, absence of oxygen, disease, methanol plus CO2 plus energy, lack of oxygen in human muscle cell, lactic acid and energy, presence of oxygen inside the mitochondria, CO2, water and energy. This is a phase, right? So this is how you study about it. Now, how is this? Finally, जब alveoli में हम देख सकते हैं कि alveoli alveolus is singular. Alveolus में जैसी air आती है, so what happens is oxygen is more in the alveoli, but alveoli और oxygen के अंदर जो blood का pressure है, partial pressure of oxygen is quite less. इसीलिए higher partial pressure, this small p is partial pressure का symbol. This is partial pressure, small p. So partial pressure में हम देख सकते हैं oxygen is not diffusing in towards the blood flow, and what has gone out? Some water vapors and CO2. We can see CO2 is also going out. So this is how finally the CO2's concentration is more in the deoxygenated blood, which is coming from, we will study in circulation, pulmonary artery is bringing this, and finally it is giving it to the alveoli or alveoli there. But in the body cells, what happens? CO2 is more. So you can see CO2 is going back into the blood and oxygen is taken up by the cells. It is all from higher partial pressure to low partial pressure. Like this. So this is completely at the tissue level. So this happens at the alveoli levels. At the alveoli levels, this happens, and this is happening at the tissue levels. Tissue levels, right? So this is at the alveoli level, and this is at the tissue levels. So it moves from higher partial pressure to lower partial pressure. So how are the lungs designed in human beings to maximize the area for exchange of gases? So that is division and subdivisions, right? We can see here divided and subdivided. How are the lungs designed in human beings to maximize the area? It is richly supplied with capillaries, further divisions into tubules and air sac. So that's how it is provided. And then we always talk about, now there are in each lungs contain 300 to 350 million alveoli. Each lung, there are 2 lungs. These numerous alveoli increase the surface area for gaseous exchange, making the process of respiration more efficient. Right? So next we have some important shares for you before we start the next topic. Then that is our next talk about. So here we have. So let me tell you about this. This is how the divisions are there, further divisions and subdivisions, and what are the latest steps, the mechanism of respiration. So this is what shown in here. Now I will talk about, yes, the breathing mechanism. This is the breathing mechanism of breathing, inspiration and expiration. So where you can see here, inspiration and expiration. So what does the inspiration does? Inspiration is atmospheric air is drawn inside. So ये higher pressure in the atmosphere and low in the lungs. So intrapulmonary pressure, यानी the pressure inside the lungs is low. And atmospheric pressure is high. ये इसलिए होता है. तो कैसे create हुआ ये? तो contraction होती है diaphragm की, diaphragm goes downwards, and the ribs and the sternum, the breastbone, that is stretching the muscles attached to the ribs. They pull the ribs outward and upward. Due to which what happens is a lot of volume created. Volume increase each other. It is inversely proportional. Remember, the volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So what happens? So this is increasing the dorsoventral axis, dorsal and ventral. Dorsal and ventral मतलब ribs जो होते हैं front और back side. Dorsoventral side manage कर रहा है diaphragm, anterior posterior axis, up and down ये वाला axis. So overall body में देखते हैं हम volume has increased, pulmonary volume increases. Now the pulmonary volume has increased, so we can see intrapulmonary pressure decreases. Forces the air from outside to more into the lungs. So this is inspiration. We have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expansion both with additional pair of muscles in the abdomen. The forceful, कोई बोल रहा है continuously, भाग रहा है, running है, कोई exertion है, voice modulation है. So there is always a pressure more towards the abdominal muscles, so that more air to be exhaled. Expiration is exactly opposite. It is a passive process, but overall remember that one thing that it is an active process because the muscles actually contract. और ये expiration अगर normal expiration है, resting mode पर तो सांस छोड़ रहा है बाहर, exhale कर रहा है, तो वो एक passive process है. It is a passive because it has no only the muscles which are contracted they will come back to their original position. Relaxation of the muscles. So that is why. Right? There is some new terms for you guys, EICM, that is external intercostal muscles. This is external intercostal muscles. It is basically for the ribs. अब जैसे ये ribs हैं, तो ऐसे pack of muscles होंगे जो जिसकी वजह से ये band of muscles है, external वाले ribs के बाहर है और इंटरनल रिब्स के अंदर की तरफ है, रिब केज के अंदर मसल का पैक है, वो इंटरनल इंटरकोस्टल मसल्स. सो कोस्टल मसल्स मतलब जो मसल्स रिब्स से अटैच. यहाँ पर इन्हीं मसल्स का सारा गेन होता है कॉन्ट्रैक्शन सेक्शन एंड इम्पल्स. Pulmonary volume decreases, intrapulmonary pressure increases to inversely proportional है, causing expulsion of air from the lungs expansion. So this is mechanism of breathing. And finally, you have just disorders to discuss. And those disorders are gaseous exchange alveoli is quite important. So this is because of the diffusion membrane. So here we can see. So the diffusion membrane takes the gaseous exchange. So this is the alveoli. This is a very important diagrams for you all for the foundation students. That how you will understand which is the oxygenated or a deoxygenated blood. So in that case, remember this thing. यहाँ पर ये बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन है. बेसमेंट सब्सटेंस होता है जब भी हम एपिथेलियम की बात कर रहे हैं, उसके नीचे एक लेयर होती है एसेलुलर, दैट इज बेसमेंट. तो ये ब्लड कैपिलरीज हैं और ये एल्वेओलाई की मेम्ब्रेन भी बोथ आर स्क्वैमस एपिथेलियम. फॉर इफेक्टिव डिफ्यूजन these cells are squamous epithelium. This is squamous epithelium, right? ये है alveolar wall one cell है, then squamous epithelium और blood का epithelium is endothelium भी बोलते हैं. These are the RBCs, the red blood cells. Why they are here? Because RBCs has hemoglobin, and this hemoglobin is going to bind with the oxygen. It is the oxygen carrier in the tissues. And one thing we need to add. This hemoglobin, while it is coming back, जैसे oxygen को deload कर दिया tissues में, obviously CO2 अब वहाँ पे hemoglobin is empty, तो वो पर hemoglobin molecule एक CO2 भी वापस से carrier उठाएगा उसको और alveoli पे छोड़ देगा. So this is not only for oxygen, even for CO2. So this is alveolar cavity. See here, and there. It should not be thick more than 1 millimeter because 3 years gives the क्योंकि diffusion का rate कम हो जाएगा, जितने thick होगी membrane, diffusion का rate अपना slow down हो जाता है. तो ये वो 3 layers है. Thin squamous epithelium of alveoli, endothelium of alveolar capillaries. It should be double L. Capillaries is spelling you should check. It is capillaries and basement substance in between them. So this is very important thing. So deoxygenated blood is coming here and it is CO2 out, oxygen inside the RBC, and then it is going to the circulation. Circulation. This is about the volume, right? So next we will talk about basically before topic baat kare, so that is disorders. So let's talk about the disorders once. So these gases are helpful. Right. ठीक है, तो disorders में मैं आपको दूसरी दिखा देती हूँ. That is हाँ, एक मैंने वीडियो आप लोग के लिए रेडी रखी थी कि यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हो, ये भी हमने सोर्सेस से लिए हैं. So this is how it works. Track, but mainly हमें inhalation, exhalation दिखाना है, left and the right lungs. And you can see here, this is how at the back it is vertebral column. कैसे ये पूरा thoracic chamber covered है, lateral sides पे ribs, front side पे sternum, ribs lateral side पर है, नीचे diaphragm है, posterior में. This is how the entire chamber is closed. तो आप देख सकते हो, जब rib cage expansion ले रही है तो lungs expand हो रहे हैं, और जब rib cage किसी तरह से contract हो रही है अपनी original position पे, तो it is exhalation. Cellular respiration में discuss कर चुकी हूँ, so their breathing is of different types and categories. Then we can see here how it is happening. जैसे ये alveoli से deoxygenated blood, blue shows deoxygenated blood. So that is how it is. और ये CO2 भी लेके जा रहा है, ऑक्सीजन भी. Both the work is done by the RBCs. RBCs bicarbonate के फॉर्म में ले जाते हैं CO2 को. This is how it is happening. So you can see this is the alveoli. It is taking the deoxygenated blood जो RBC लेके गया, और alveoli से oxygenated blood, hemoglobin binded ये आएगा to the tissues. इस तरह से पूरा circulation continue करता है, right? Alveoli to tissues, this circulation is taking place. So hemoglobin is responsible for the binding of oxygen, forming oxyhemoglobin compound. So hemoglobin one hemoglobin molecule can join with 4 oxygen atoms. This is how it is. It is binding. It is oxyhemoglobin. And now finally you can see here, and this is all because this is the oxygen molecule. एक oxygen atom दिखा रहे हैं, combine हो गया. So it is when the partial pressure of oxygen is very high, जो होता है सिर्फ alveoli. So this is how oxyhemoglobin is formed. Partial pressure of CO2 is less. तो hemoglobin उसी को priority देगा जिसका partial pressure high है. तो alveoli में bind करेगा oxygen से, tissue में bind करेगा CO2 से. pH और temperature भी low होगा, इसको favor करेगा. This is how. This is finally the formation. And then tissues, ये carbaminohemoglobin जब CO2 join होता है. So that is how carbaminohemoglobin. ये होता है tissues में जब partial pressure of oxygen is less and that of CO2 is high. क्यों CO2 high है? Because हमने glycolysis, Krebs cycle और ये ETS की जब हम बात करें, ETC की बात कर रहे हैं, तो उनमें by products हैं. Krebs cycle के by products में CO2 release होता है. Bicarbonate के form में जाएगा ये, right? हमारे respiratory centers कहाँ पे हैं? Brain, in the medulla region. So in the pons region, it is regulating the breathing mechanism. कब सांस ज्यादा तेज चलानी, कब धीरे सांस चलेगी, तो वो सारी चीजें ये देखते हैं. सेंसिटिव होता है ये, अपने आप पता लगा लेता है कि कहाँ पे CO2 ज्यादा है अगर बॉडी में, या टॉक्सिसिटी बढ़ रही है स्ट्रेस की वजह से. So it is going to increase the breathing rate. Then some disorders. So this is emphysema due to excessive cigarette smoking. Asthma is lifestyle disorder. So like this, we have several types. Inflammation of the bronchi. Then there are some types of disorders. Emphysema mein to the alveoli loses its elasticity, so that's how its exhalation power reduces. So these are very nowadays it is treatable because of the biotech medicines. RDT techniques से बनती है, तो उससे काफी अच्छा इसका हो गया है. There are some types of अल्फा एंटीट्रिप्सिन एक बनाया है मॉलिक्यूल जो एम्फाइसेमा के ट्रीटमेंट के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. मैं लिख देती हूँ ताकि आपको ये पता चले कि ये ट्रीटेबल है इन अर्ली स्टेजेस. डेफिनेटली prolongs the life of the patient. So it is alpha antitrypsin, right? Alpha antitrypsin. So this is produced by RDT, recombinant DNA technology in the biotech. And this drug is very useful. Okay, and then asthma is allergic. It is due to the allergens and lifestyle disorder and mental cities due to pollution. And of course, then occupational disorders due to stone cutting, mining industry में workers को हो सकता है fibrosis, fibroids in the lungs. इनमें prolong में वो chronic हो जाता है. नोड्यूल्स बन जाते हैं। इसीलिए ये सारी चीजें हमें ध्यान देनी है कि लंग्स को they are very sensitive organs and it should be taken care of, right? I hope the class was useful. Make your notes and the DPP will be shared in your group. Thank you. Bye.